Yes, in what was probably, Razor, in a word, the most excruciating season in recent memory for a Dallas Stars fan. The Stars failed to do what they were hoping they were going to be able to do. They got help earlier in the day from the Detroit Red Wings, but they couldn't beat the Minnesota Wild tonight. They got beat. Why did they get beat?
I wonder whether playing those games against inferior opponents and getting away with it this past week, the 2 games against Colorado, the game against Columbus, where they they won the game, but they didn't really, and it's difficult, I think, sometimes for teams when you're playing against clubs that are kind of helter-skelter and you don't really know who that is on the other side. And then they came up against a pretty structured group here in the Minnesota Wild tonight, and they didn't have their best game. They didn't play their best game. That second period where they started turning pucks over and they looked flat-footed, it seemed to be costly. They give up, 4 goals and an empty netter to a club that has been struggling mightily to score goals. Their power play score. I mean, it's just kind of a confluence of a bunch of different things that had them not play their best game in the most important game of the season.
Dallas Stars, however, take a lot of positives from this year. Again, this is the 24th ranked payroll out of 30 teams in the National Hockey League. They came into the season really, Razor, with outside of anybody in the group, nobody really thinking they were going to make it to the postseason. They had a good year. They found some really good players, and they've addressed some key areas, too.
Well, they finished the season as a better team than the one that started it. That's undeniable. They added, you look at it last year, they shored up their goaltending and decided that they had to move past Marty Turco, who was getting up there in age, and find a new number one. And they went out and did that in Kari Lehtinen. He played 70 games this season and gave them a real backbone to their overall performance in the regular season. And then as the season moved along, needing a dynamic two-way defenseman, made the trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins and picked up Alex Goligoski. You saw his impact here tonight with that power play goal to tie it late in the second period. So, yeah, I mean, there's no question it's trending in the right direction, both on the personnel side and what they've been able to produce as far as points. I mean, usually you get the point total the Stars did this season, you get into the postseason, but this is a freakish year. All 5 teams don't get in the Pacific Division, and now they can sit there and go over the 82 games, and you're going to find multiple areas where you can find a point or 2 points here, there, and everywhere.
Because they had pointed, everybody kind of points at that Solani and Fowler game in Dallas, and the one that I kept pointing to was, yeah, but maybe that Benn game would be the one that'll get him in, and Jamie Benn took another big step forward this year for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, we're all going to look at the most recent ones because they're easier, but there were points lost early in the season as well, and points gained. They were a very determined group when they were down. Yeah, I think this, if you're going to put something in highlighter on this season, it would be the emergence of Jamie Benn. Following a terrific rookie season, then he goes down to the American Hockey League and almost wills that farm team to a Calder Cup championship. Then he comes in this season, and when they ran into the rash of injuries, they basically put a saddle on him, put a bit in his mouth, and rode him for a while, and he delivered night after night. I think with proper guidance and a little more maturity as it moves forward, you could have the best, or certainly one of the best, two-way forwards in the National Hockey League. He's that good, and just scratching the surface of what his ability is.
Joe Nieuwendyk will have some decisions to make in the offseason. The big one, the one everybody talks about, is Brad Richards. Richards' contract expires now. He will have the opportunity to test the free agent market if the Stars don't re-sign him. There's a lot that goes into this, and it's further mitigated by what happened with the injury and his subsequent play thereafter, yes?
Some of it. It's more to do with finances and ownership than anything else. And I think for a lot of intent and purpose, we've probably seen Brad Richards' last game as a Dallas Star, right? He's going to be an unrestricted free agent on July 1st. Is this ownership thing going to get straightened out prior to that to allow them to talk about a long-term big money deal? Because that's what he has available, I'm sure, out there in other markets. Terrific Dallas Star from the day that they picked him up. That group and that little gust of wind drove them to the conference final just a couple of years ago in 2008. But with some injuries, you're right, that impacted things when they lost him to the injury. And now that's just one, obviously the biggest hard decision here in the summer, but I'd be shocked if he's back, all things considered.
All right. Dallas Stars, thank you for all of your help during the 2010-11 season. We really wish we were going forward. Boy, do we ever, but until next year, we'll see you.